although I don't think a huge portion of the audience is black, I do know that the deep state loves to clip Real America's Voice content because we are, as Jake Tapper says, and the cold open for War Room coming up at the top of the hour, we are MAGA media. And, they use our content a lot. And I hope that they clip this here today. And if you don't live in the inner cities and you're not black or you're not one of these minority demographics, pardon me for the first portion of the show today. I told people back in 2020, after George Floyd died, organized these demonstrations to go to the Federal Reserve and say, hey, yeah, do I agree with what Derek Chauvin did that day? No. But is policing the real issue for black people in this country? Absolutely not. 1,000% with no equivocations. The real issue in black America and really for the entire country is more of the economic variety, more about crony capitalism and corrupt political elites, bureaucrats, the administrative state, the Federal Reserve. And at the time, people didn't really understand what I meant, but we did a silent march one night to the Fed. Started at U.S. Bank Stadium apropos to the conversation about financial institutions, U.S. Bank, one of the big boys in American banking. And we built a beautiful, beautiful billion-dollar stadium for the Minnesota Vikings with taxpayer dollars. And Minnesota Vikings are due to kick off here, a couple of extra male cheerleaders to start this season. But hey, it not my deal. But we started this silent protest at U.S. Bank Stadium, and we came across the downtown Minneapolis area to eventually end up at the Federal Reserve. And that night, we made a homemade 30 by 30 foot canvas. We went to Home Depot. Maybe we went to Home Depot, if I'm not mistaken. And we got a huge 30 by 30 foot canvas, and we painted the entire thing black. And we wrote sovereignty on it in red ink, red paint. And there are these great pictures. I wish I would have thought about it. I don't really write a script for the show, so maybe we'll show them next weekend. But there's some beautiful pictures of us, myself, and about 7 or 8 other black men holding up a 30 by 30 foot canvas with the word sovereignty painted in red in front of the Federal Reserve. And when I said the word sovereignty in front of the Fed, I don't really think a lot of people understood what I meant. I don't think they understood the importance of it. Well, now you do. Now you're starting to understand. And I told the black community then, everybody screamed, defund the police. You guys can't live without the police. You don't have the self-respect and self-discipline to govern yourselves in the inner cities. When have you shown that? You haven't shown that. That's the reality. The crime has been out of control in the black community for a long, long time. And a lot of it has to do with the lack of discipline. Yeah, you could say from the parents or the strife in the nuclear family, that was pretty much government propaganda and incentivized as well. We still see that today with the family court and whatnot and welfare. But it is more about a culture in the black community of one, victimhood, saying that no matter what my kid does, it's a byproduct of the racist system and history that they live through and live under. And there is racism. And there is some truth to the fact that history does take a toll on people, that history does play a role and have consequences for a society. Our short history tells us that with the globalist agenda and where we are today politically. But we still have to take responsibility for ourselves. And as parents in the black community for a long time, we've done a terrible job in disciplining our parents. I think, and maybe some people would disagree, I think we need to go back to beating our kids. I showed a video on my social media the other day of a young black man in a classroom smacking his teacher across the face 2 times, slapped her glasses. I say her, and I say that with air quotes because it appeared to be a man dressed up as a woman, but I couldn't be sure. So, without knowing 100%, I hold judgment on that. But even if, and I get it, The Marxists and the liberals and the crazy LGBTQ activists grabbed a hold of this country and they had us living in the twilight zone. I understand. However, and it must be tough to be a young black kid in a classroom that essentially wants to teach you to be a drone. They don't really want you to be free. And they stick a man dressed up as a woman in your class to basically insult your intelligence and insinuate that you could become a woman if you decide to. I get it. But even so, then you parents should be up at the school boards. You parents should know who your kids' teachers are. You parents should be the ones, making a fuss about things like that. It shouldn't be on the kid. And a kid should never resort to slapping a teacher across the face unless they are defending themselves against some type of predatory assault or abuse. But that's not what was going on. This is typical flamboyant, fake tough guy stuff that goes on in the black community all the time. And we see it all the way down to the young age. I can't tell you how many videos I see of 14, 13, 15-year-old young black men with automatic adjusted handguns shooting each other in one of our black communities in the inner city across the country. That's the reality. So don't tell me Donald Trump is a fascist or a tyrant because he sent in the National Guard. Don't tell me that Donald Trump is an authoritarian because he has the Metropolitan Police, took control of the Metropolitan Police and has, the National Guard and the FBI and other, cooperating agencies increasing their presence in the city. Don't tell me, don't give me the sob story, because a lot of us black acting, we're going to talk about this on the other side of the break. We're going to spend a little bit of time on this here. But we're going to sort out a few things today, and I feel so well positioned to do it because yours truly, I'm black, but I'm Norwegian, I'm Mexican, I have a number of different heritages in my bloodline, and I lived across the state of Minnesota, which is a pretty diverse place to live. So we're going to talk about this today. Again, you're watching the Royce White Show this morning. We're glad to have you back. We're talking about the DC crime rate in black communities all across the country. On the other side, stay tuned. We'll be right back.